There we go. Buckfast Super Bee again.
I know.
And
here we are again. All right, so hey, episode 8, everybody.
Episode 8. Woo!
Woo, doggies. All right.
Turn sideways, that's infinity. 8, the number 8.
Exactly. So from here on out, it's going to just put this one on a constant loop. Drive yourselves crazy.
Let's see, Buckfast, they'll be going to be April 30th at the Cosba, so that's probably coming up pretty soon when this podcast airs.
Yeah.
It's early April 2016, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Vespa Motorsport podcast, sponsored by ScooterWest.com. I'm Alex Kahn, and next to me is
Kevin Lee Stram.
Stram, quick disclaimer.
All right, here we go.
The fun stuff.
Exactly. Business in the front, party in the rear. This is how we do it. All right.
Someone could get offended by that, and you haven't read the disclaimer yet.
Oh, shoot. All right, well, here you go. Pay attention, kids. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the individual guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Vespa Motorsport, ScooterWest.com.
Includes the hosts, too.
Exactly.
The hostess with the mostests.
Exactly.
All right. Upcoming events, once again, AmeriVespa.
Hey, everybody.
In Memphis.
Do that.
June 23rd through 26th.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You gotta do your Vespa thing.
Yeah, that should be pretty rad. I mean, Memphis, Tennessee will be a rad place to have a AmeriVespa. So there's so much cool stuff to check out there. So much history. Yeah. So much rock and roll.
Exactly. Also, for anybody who's from the West Coast, when you're going to be down south in that, you're going to feel real heat, and also
humidity.
Yeah, you're going to know what it's like. And also, there's the cicadas will be going off, man, and that's
cool.
That's really cool.
Music to your ears. Right
it is, man. It's just.
And you kind of do appreciate California weather.
Yeah, exactly. There it is.
That's what they make the noise.
Yeah. They make that crazy, crazy noise, and they look like little flying saucers, man. They're crazy. It's like little ping pong balls with wings, but they're bugs. They're nuts, man.
Continuing with our very special guest, Eric Dutra is back on episode 8. We had so much stuff, there's no way we could cram it into a whole episode. So,
oops.
We kind of left it on a cliffhanger with one of the bikes he owns, which is probably the most awesome bike in the world.
Yeah.
What is the oldest bike you own? I guess we could say. We could ask you. We need a drum roll.
Okay.
Or if we could edit in a drum roll, Scott.
Or some cicadas.
Well, I have the privilege of being offered about 11 years ago to purchase from Rolf Soltau. It is the first year Vespa 1946, and it's restored, and it's a lower chassis number than what's on display even at the factory. So
it's beautifully restored. And is it one of the oldest ones on record, or the oldest one, or what?
No, I don't think it's that, but it is
really close.
It is an early series. It's made. They started in April. It's like a late May model.
Wow.
So it's just there's like 4 series. So this is Type 1.
Wow. So this is like the proper, very first Vespa really ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's some details of that bike? I guess you could tell. Like displacement, of course.
Well, that's why they call it the 98.
What was it designation? Was it called Vespa 98? Was that
Vespa V98?
Yeah, Vespa V98.
Because it's 98 cc's, 3-speed, 3.5 horsepower.
Yeah,
and
a whopping 3.5. What would top speed? Wouldn't even.
Maybe about 40.
Yeah. Okay.
With the wind to your back.
But back in 1946, that was pretty respectable for a moped, or something. Or
do you want to take the bus?
Yeah, right.
Or on the have the donkey and the cart,
right.
Because unless you're very well privileged having a car or something like that, that's the whole concept of scooters, is that it's affordable,
Right. Yeah. Actually, what did that cost? Do you have any idea? Like how many lira it set you back to buy? Vespa in 1946?
I've looked on some of it. I think in today's money, it was about $1,200 to $1,300 in today's money.
Right. So it's a decent amount.
But that's a lot of money. You're making, $5-10 a day. Post-war Italy.
Yeah. And I think it has fixed there's no shocks.
Well, that's what a lot of
the rear, or does it? Yeah.
Well, a lot of people think that they don't. It's just that the travel isn't a lot. It is actually a very fine bushing. There's a bushing that's in the back there, and it does flex a little bit, and it is on a metal subframe that the engine is attached to. And then the front is a coiled spring that actually is like a leading link one, where it's not trailing backwards. It's going, when you stop, it
comes up,
but it's literally like a snail spiraled spring. And that's what you get in the front.
Almost like in the rear of the Volkswagens, how they have it's how there's the spring leaves are kind of like coiled up in that rear section where the engine attaches and where the suspension attaches to it.
Right.
It actually kind of is all spring loaded back there.
Well, the rear, like I said, is truly, it's a bushing. There is no spring, but the front is spooled. Yeah, like it's a leaf spring, but coiled up.
Oh, okay.
And then it's just on a knurled piece,
Yeah.
Wild stuff. And you've actually driven this bike around a little bit. I think I seem to remember like some rumor you took it on Gymkhana, even at one of the Mira Vespa, San Jose or something, right? Or...
No, that's with the bike that actually can do it with a GS. Right. But this one, I've essentially have coasted it down, kind of not too steep of a hill. But the engine, it is a little bit mothballed right now. It can be resurrected, but it is in a preservation-like state.
Right. Well, understandably so. It's not something you want to drive around daily.
And so, if anybody wants any insight into this bike and the beginnings of this bike, the original discovery of the bike was actually featured in Scoot Quarterly.
Yes,
I remember reading that article.
I think it was found up in Orange County or
it was actually like
Rancho Dominguez or whatever.
It's kind of out in
Compton.
Like in Compton there, and Rolf being the technical
straight
advisor.
out of Compton.
This one's from the hood.
Yeah, it is.
Sweet.
Yeah, and he got called on a service job and to pick up a bike there. It had the Vespa logo on the big truck. And somebody was clearing out a storage unit or something like that, and a fellow came up to him and said, "Hey, I see this thing Vespa. Maybe you might be interested in this scooter that I found." So, kind of precariously hanging on a pallet off of a forklift, Rolf essentially almost like passed out when he saw what it was, and he didn't really say anything. And he said that he paid $300 for it.
Yeah, I think he had a copy of the check. Actually, I remember seeing. Yeah. It's an incredible story. It's almost unbelievable, actually. I remember when I first heard it, I didn't believe it. I thought it was like a publicity stunt by, Piaggio USA or something. That's the only one in USA, right? And I mean, there's
47 that is out here.
Joel,
a good friend Joel, but I think I heard that he did actually sell it.
Yeah,
and I told him reluctantly that I think he should keep it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so few of those. But I think Victor Voris had a pretty old.
He has a 48.
48.
That's when they went to a 125.
Right. So there's not a whole lot of these old Vespas here, and some of them I know a few people that did own them, and they got so valuable in Europe they sold them back to Europe and stuff. So
I've been offered it, but it's why I like being. What Rolf asked me was to be a kind of a curator for it,
right?
Because it is I'm not saying it's a Rembrandt or something like that, but it is. You are kind of the guardian of it, and then in time, you pass it on.
Yeah. Talking about that, where do you store this bike actually?
Well, that's
the exact location.
If I do that, I'd have to kill you for that.
It's in a secret private vault, locked up deep.
Yeah. Got it.
But I do bring it out. I do enjoy showing it.
No, we actually saw it.
Yeah, we saw it at a Mira Vespa here. And it was the first time seeing it, and it was a really lovely display. Yeah. And
the thing is amazing. I mean, it's beautifully restored and just like really an incredible bike. And there's just nothing else quite like it. And no center stand. The thing just has like a little puck that it kind of sits on the side.
Yeah. Stands were an option, like an aftermarket option, and it just cants over on its side. There's little aluminum pads on each side, and it you get off it. The one thing I've been very privileged to see is actually people riding restored ones and unrestored ones at the Eurovespa or World Vespa Days.
Right.
And they kind of gurgle kind of sounding. It sounds like a classic outboard motor. Yeah. And they're not fast, but you're driving right next to them, and you're driving with the birth of the icon right there.
Right. Right.
It's amazing.
So
it's like swimming with the dolphins or something. Spiritual. It's a spiritual experience.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine, like, if you're really into that it would be a spiritual experience. I totally get that. That's how I felt when I entered the room. I was like, oh, there it is. Because it's like, I have a super low number SS180. I have, You know, I did
90
the
SS.
research. Yeah, my SS180.
Yeah.
Number 207 off the assembly line.
We'll put a 0 on it, it'd be 007.
Yeah, baby.
So-
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I've
that's
got all
low
those
numbers.
parts. Yeah, that's a really low number. So I understand the importance.
First month of being made.
Yeah. So I love it. I love it. So we're kind of like Eskimo brothers in that sense. So
Just don't Eskimo kiss.
exactly. Well, that's too late for that. So anyway, so now we are both proud owners of GS 150s as well. Yours is, what year is your GS 150?
It's a 59.
A 59?
Yeah.
Got it.
VS5.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got the VS5 is from 58 to 61, or is it 59?
59 to 61.
Okay, so I've got the
Late
61. Yeah.
Yeah, you got almost one of the last before the
Yeah.
160.
Yeah. Cool. And then and that one, actually, you were telling me there's got some certain upgrades and stuff like that, but we're looking forward to hearing about your trip through Europe on that particular bike.
Okay.
But we'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
And then what's the newest bike that you own?
Well, the newest one, kind of to continue on with the whole Vespa saga, is now the 946.
Yeah.
And, it is a boutique, very limited run bike. It is a little on the expensive side, but it is a hand-built piece, and it's a beautiful bike. It's the thing that I like the most about the new ones is that there are a lot of design interpretations that, I have them parked very close to the original, and you can do like a double take, between the two, and they really, it's kind of the handmade atelier style that Vespa really became famous for, and not saying that there's, they've made 5 million in one of them, but it is a special, kind of a halo type of a bike.
That's really cool seeing those two like next to each other. It's
they're really nice bikes.
The 946 next to the 1946.
Yeah. They have a lot of aluminum in them, that the way that the originals were made, the first early ones, fenders and cowlings and stuff like that.
Right.
But very minimal and beautiful. I mean, they're beautiful bikes,
Have you looked to see what number your 946 is?
It's a pretty low one. For the U.S. market, it's number 43.
Okay.
And then there's like 350 designated
For the US.
Yeah.
The US.
And
Okay.
then
I think they only did 3,500 that first year anyhow too. So
yeah, and now you have the Armani ones, so that's, I hear, is
that was super limited edition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
super
actually had one of those here, and I got to tell you,
Yeah.
that thing was just so flossy. It was so nice, like
Yeah.
just the finish on it and all that
Right.
stuff. It's just
the,
so
the little
nice. Like,
green tinge it had.
yeah,
the
you
little
just,
badging.
with the
I think
matte, with the, it was like, oh, it was just.
I'm not a big designer fan, but yeah, as you can tell by what I usually wear. But that thing was pretty snazzy. Yeah, I'd have to admit.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah. Oh, and thank you, DOT, for screwing all the lines up on all the bikes
Or the turn
with
signal-
all the
or the
turn
reflectors.
signals and the reflectors. Thanks so
Ugly
much.
reflectors.
Oh my god. So, and then you've got some other interesting vehicles. In
Not so much scooter, but
Yeah.
microcar and
Well, what happened, especially with this the Fuji Rabbit saga, is that, and I probably do have a picture here where we'll have our fine engineer Scotty dial it in, is I started really getting into the Microcars, because one time going to a rally, I saw these two barely 10-foot long vans that are like no bigger than a golf cart, and those were some of Subaru's first vehicles that they had here in the United States. So I waited about a decade or so until I finally found one. But I do have these Subaru, I have about 5 or 6 of them, the Microcars. One is actually a hot dog vending stand, and the distributor, the Subaru of America in New Jersey, had them commissioned to be made like that. So
what year? What year was it?
that one is a 67.
67.
And it's all
Yeah,
original, and the stainless, will last a lifetime.
Yeah. I've actually eaten a hot dog off of that.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's like one of the best hot dogs I ever had. I think
Just because it came out
just
of
because
that,
it came out of a Subaru.
or because of the love that,
I mean, it was a really good hot dog too.
that
yeah.
Eric put into making the hot dog for you.
But the atmosphere was perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really, really interesting. I love all that stuff. So now you've had a chance to let's get back to the GS and what
Okay,
you've done on
okay.
that bike.
Okay. Well, I was 20 years ago now, was the 50th anniversary of the Vespa in the fall, or in the summer, I should say. So in the fall, I actually was starting to consider, I really want to take something and make a splash in Europe. Mm-hmm. So I remember one time a friend of mine named Mauricio that we knew had a GS, and I remember riding it on a rally, and everybody took off. I remember, they're not the fastest bikes in today's standards, but I really fell in love with the GS, and that was a couple years prior. So I finally found a bike that I started. It took a couple months to restore it, and to do something really special, I actually took it flew it to Lisbon, and then rode it not once but twice to Italy. First to the Euro Vespa, and then a few months later for the 50th anniversary, back to the factory. And then that was at the time that they launched the new generation,
the
ET series,
which kind of marked the whole next generation of Vespas, pretty much.
Yeah. Right, and that's what everybody out there is pretty much familiar with. I mean, right now ET2s and ET4s, they're starting to be
classics.
Yeah, they're classics now. Especially when you see one that's in really good condition, it's a surprise. You're like, wow. This thing is nice, So cool, man. And so on that trip, approximately how many kilometers did you do, or miles, however you want to calculate?
On that trip there, it was pretty close to about 8,000 miles.
Okay.
About 8,000 miles.
Kilometers? That's not kilometers.
No, in miles.
That's pretty good.
1,000.
You have to understand, each time to Italy from Lisbon to San Remo, that's almost 2,000 miles.
Okay.
And then on the first trip from there, went through Torino.
Okay, so that's 2,000. As I understand it, that's Southern California to Chicago, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 4 days. Every day, 500 miles a day.
And we're talking on a GS 150,
1959
GS 150.
Got it.
It'll rattle your teeth off.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty damn impressive. And it performed fine, reliable.
It was pretty good, but I had issues, from the excessive running,
Just the heat. I'm sure the heat.
I remember something with the high tension coil.
I went through a couple of coils because of vibration.
Yeah, the black Bakelite and
Okay.
Wasn't some like Piaggio tech that helped you out on the side of the road or something?
I have pictures of I almost didn't get to the 50th anniversary. I was actually with Eric Larson, which is with Piaggio of America. And so I frantically worked on it all night underneath an overpass. They were sleeping with the scooters on the side there. And I kind of got it to work, and then it didn't. And then what was coincidental enough is that some of the engineers from Piaggio, en route going to the factory, we were about maybe 80 miles away. We weren't that far away. They came in, and it was just like a Formula One pit team thing there. In about 15 minutes, they figured it out. And it's essentially the ignition coil was bad. They literally lifted it up and wrapped electrical tape on it, and then it worked. And then that's essentially what took me almost all the way back to Portugal after that. So
were these like old engineers or young engineers or like?
No, these were older, a couple of younger guys, but a couple. I have the cool picture here with the guys.
So we can actually we'll flash the picture up there on Sky. Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, that's pretty rad. And then you had a chance to take the Vespa home. Basically, that's a bike that was produced in Italy.
Yeah.
Exported to the United States.
Yes.
Sold, ridden through college or whatever by whomever. Right. You picked up the bike, did some work on it, restored it, and then
created it,
rode it all the way back to the factory.
Rode to the factory. We got a picture there,
right in front of birthplace.
Yeah, big Piaggio and C.
That is amazing.
It's like that's a picture. Part of the reason I wanted to do it is he was in the late 50s. I think the Argentinian driver, like Sterling Moss. The other fellow, his name was I think Fangio or something like that. But he was very very well known.
Wasn't Nelson Piquet or something like that?
Well, that's more in the 80s.
Yeah,
that's in the 80s. But that fell in that period, and it is on one of the Piaggio calendars promo thing that he's on a GS. And he's right underneath the Piaggio and C right there entryway. So I was privileged enough. I mean, I just had a GS and I was right there at the factory. So
that's
rad. So it's iconic.
So as you're riding through Europe and that, I'm sure there's just the breathtaking views, everything's new. You're just, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. That I know that's really, really fun. Whenever I get to go out on a nice long ride by myself and just be on the scooter, it's awesome. It's super awesome.
Yeah, people need to go out and do some more scoot touring because it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's nothing else quite like it. You're cruising along, you can smell the roses. It's not like motorcycle or a car or something.
And
it's like,
and everybody, this bike is not retired. This bike is still in semi-regular rotation. And most recently, you did the Salton Sea TT along with me and Scott and Alex here. Alex won. Scott got first in his category. I got second in my category. You got first in your category.
Right.
No.
You drove that GS 150 from San Diego to Escondido, the long way around Salton Sea. Take a look at a map, everybody. That was 320 miles, I believe, that day?
320 miles.
Yeah, 320 miles. Then rode it back to San Diego because you had to get home.
Right.
Yeah.
I did. And by the way, there's a TT coming up, Hell's Loop.
Yeah, I'll be on that.
Yeah, Alan Spears.
I just you know.
You remember the date? April
23rd.
April 23rd. And they actually have a site you can look it up for Hell's Loop, but Alan Spears puts those on. It's fun. If you want to race a scooter around 400 miles in a day, it's pretty fun, actually.
But the longest I actually rode the thing for the second trip going to the factory for the 50th anniversary, I actually left on Friday the 13th.
Cool.
And ran it for 24 hours nonstop.
Wow.
And it's to celebrate the race that they did in the late 50s.
Okay.
It's a Lisbon to Barcelona. It's 800 miles.
Did you have anybody with you, or was this like you just in your head doing, I'm doing this? I'm giving you a fist pump right now because you and I are like that.
GS bros.
Exactly.
GS bros.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the longest ride you've done on your GS, Kevin?
You know what? I think the longest was probably like North County and back, but like North County and then riding around North County. And then I also used to commute on it, and it was like my day.
You're running around for a while.
It was my daily
You had the
driver.
performance pipe on there and stuff?
No, I didn't really have any of that stuff. Oh, yeah, I did. It did.
Yeah.
I took all that stuff off because
Yeah,
it didn't
right.
really work.
Put it all stock, yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Just make it blow up.
Much nicer stock, absolutely.
I had a restored GS 152, but I think I drove it like probably 3 blocks or something when I... Because I had sold it.
That guy. Yeah. All right. So you know what? Thanks so much. I know we've got so many more stories and all that stuff. So if anybody has an opportunity at the rallies and you, especially in AmeriVespa, are you going to be in Tennessee? You think?
Hopefully, yeah. I'll try to say, it's
Cool.
been a few years, since I've been to the ones there.
Cool. Awesome. If you haven't had a chance to just run past Eric's path, just give him a big high five and say thank you, and just, to have a beer with the guy, man. He's super awesome, super approachable.
Some amazing stories, incredible amount of knowledge about scooters of all genres.
Yeah. Absolutely. So once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. All right, so let's get to it. All right, everybody. So we're going to get into the product review, but it's kind of like an expansion of episode 7's product review. So in the last
sticking with goggles.
Yeah, we're going to stick
more
with the
about goggles.
Croups. All right. So in the last episode we had the new Croups.
And then we have this time we have the classic Croups.
Yeah.
And we carry the full range, all colors, clear and smoked, which is the GO12 and GO13 for our item number. And
these come with much more color choices.
Do we all want to put on a pair too?
Let's see what we can do with these. Here, I'm going to take I'll take
a blue pair.
I'll take these ones.
Okay.
There you go. Cool. And they do come in pink with both with clear and smoked lenses. If for those people who want to be like all into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they fit over glasses too. Actually,
yeah,
it's not
they
that bad.
Oh, rad.
Yeah. But these actually have a little leather trim around.
Yeah,
it's a really thin, kind of plastic on these.
Yeah, it's a lighter weight.
Yeah, these are, but these are kind of a little more $12.95, I think. So they're kind of a little more disposable.
Cool.
Yeah,
but they're also
$12. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're small enough, and
kind of like that skydiving.
Yeah, skydiving.
Yeah,
also jockey,
these are cool.
like jockey ones.
Yeah,
skydiving.
So if you're into that, like a little bit more '60s retro kind of style and stuff like that, and you don't really like the weight of, say, the Halcyon, like British aviation goggles, these actually would fit the bill for sure. And because they're cheap and they're very colorful, you can get them to match your outfits and things like that. People think that's stupid, but You know what? I have multiple jackets depending on how I'm dressed and what
multiple
I'm up to.
helmets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you get multiple goggles too.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Match different stuff.
So here we go. Here's the giveaway. Get ready for this stuff. All right. So the first 5 people who post on our Vespa Motorsport Facebook page under Episode 8 podcast, Episode 8 podcast, posting with this statement: I subscribe to the Vespa Motorsport iTunes podcast. That's I subscribe to the Vespa Motorsport iTunes podcast. Will receive free Vespa pair of vintage Krups goggles and welcome pack. So thank you so much for everybody who's been listening, who's been subscribing. Please feel free to share any of this knowledge that we're providing for you here.
It's also SoundCloud. You can also watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. All the support is definitely appreciated. I just don't want you to think that we're just out here just, playing grab ass and all that other good stuff.
We're trying to hopefully be entertaining and fun and educate people on scooter history in San Diego, scooter history in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how does my hair look? Yeah, it's getting a little long, I think. I think it's time for a haircut. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
Any last words, Eric?
Always remember, go back for the lokes. These are the ones, you don't want to lose these.
Go back for the lokes.
That's the other ism. But no, it's been always a privilege to know you, Alex. I've known you, it's like 30 years now.
Right.
30 years.
30 years goes by.
This marks our anniversary today.
Exactly. Scott was minus 1 years old when you guys met. He was minus 1.
Yeah. and make sure you subscribe to a lot of the YouTube videos and see all of our
whole YouTube channel. Yeah. Eric's been on a lot of Mexico trips.
And you can see our fine engineering in Mexico.
Yeah.
In fact, we got Steve here representing up here, and that's his wife Christina in that picture there too. So
Stina and Spider.
They're here in spirit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, one of these days, I'm on here.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.
Enjoy the ride.
Cue the music.